Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today we are talking about something very exciting regarding the Nintendo Switch 2. It appears we have some new leaks regarding the abilities of the Switch 2 that will have a lot to do with the graphics, performance, and overall power capabilities. And from what I'm seeing here, how I'm interpreting it, it's looking to be pretty impressive, and I think it's going to go a long ways towards making the Switch 2 a proper, true hybrid console. In other words, it's going to be fantastic, even more so as a handheld system, but also even more fantastic as a home console. Something the Switch tried to do a bit of both, but this time with Switch 2, I think it's going to come a lot closer to mastering them. And that's what we'll be diving further into today. But before going forward, let me ask that if you do enjoy my content, to please subscribe and hit that notification bell. So this latest bit of leaked information has been popularized and shared mostly to the public by this new article from Universe Nintendo written by its owner, Necrofelipe Lima. And what Necrofelipe writes in this article are these discoveries made by both Lick and Luigi Blood from Family Boards where there are some private posts. But essentially there have been discoveries made regarding this exchange of public info when it comes to shipping parts between factories and assemblers that would be Nintendo manufacturing partners. In other words, there is evidence out there for the different parts to the Nintendo Switch, which is some of the strong supporting info as to why we believe the console will have 12GB of RAM and an 8-inch screen. But there are two big discoveries this time. First is a more powerful charger, a 60-watt charger. For comparison, the Nintendo Switch had a 36-watt charger that was limited to 19 watts. And this would be for distribution reasons for the different things the Switch would do. And what's being speculated right now with this higher watt charger is that it could allow for higher clock speeds and fast charging. So let's first talk about the advantages of having higher clock speeds. When we take into consideration what the Switch currently is, it is a hybrid console. So in portable mode, it's clocked at certain speeds, so power consumption isn't as high, therefore it can last longer with its battery life portably. And because it's playing games with a smaller screen and a lower resolution, there isn't as much of a need for higher clock speeds, so the visuals don't have to be as impressive because they can still look good on that smaller screen. But then when you put the games into docked mode and it's playing on a bigger screen, those limited clock speeds will lead to visuals that will have more noticeable weaknesses. So when the Switch is docked, it's plugged into an external power source. There's no concerns about power consumption when it comes to the battery life. Therefore, they can raise the clock speeds of the console and it can output better visuals and performance, which helps it have a better experience for a bigger television with a higher resolution. And this is essentially how the Switch works. However, while developers have found better ways to optimize their games on the Nintendo Switch, a common observation of Switch games, especially early on, is that sometimes games run better in portable mode, or at least in docked mode it's not significant enough of a leap. Now technically, the Switch can go up to higher clock speeds, but this is something Nintendo does not allow for consumers, likely due to heating and safety reasons. So essentially, the Switch tries to be a hybrid console, but it's kind of more of a portable system than it is a home console. But by incorporating a higher watt charger, we can have even higher clock speeds on the Switch 2, and again, the scenario we would assume would be similar where we don't have to worry about power consumption when it comes to the battery. And so that leap between portable mode and home console mode when it comes to visuals might be more substantial, and Switch 2 has a better chance of making good on being a proper hybrid console. But then there's also this possibility of fast charging. And this I also think is neat for the portable aspect of things, because let's say you're playing your Switch and you're going to be taking it in and out of the dock throughout the day or as you're traveling and things of that nature. So plopping it into the dock or its charger and fast charging like you would a phone, for example, you might do this for a few minutes when you don't have that much time to leave your phone, or in this case a Switch, overnight. And so if your Switch 2 is running low on battery, you plop it into the fast charger for a little while, let's say half an hour or so, it's fully charged, and you can go and take it out for the rest of your day or your travels. So basically, this better charger, if it does facilitate higher clock speeds and fast charging, will go a long ways to improving the portable and home console experiences. But that isn't all. There's also talk of how there is apparently this additional, slightly smaller cooling fan. So there's already the cooling fan that would be for the actual system itself, the tablet-like device, with the internals of it all. The same way it is for Switch, there's a fan in there, as most systems have. But the speculation right now is that this additional smaller fan might be something that's for the actual dock of the console. And the thinking here is that they may be designing the system and the dock in a way where you can plop the system into the dock and then it does raise its clock speeds, so that will create more of a heating issue, but it will be fine because there will be additional cooling support within the dock. And so this would further help to facilitate higher clock speeds, maximizing even more so the console in docked modes so it can function more appropriately as a home console experience. So I'm really hoping the information we have here is being interpreted correctly if these are indeed the case, because if so, we're looking at the Switch 2 being an even better hybrid console. I use my Nintendo Switch both portably and home console wise. But I would say I'm kind of like a 20-80 or 30-70, 20 to 30% portably and an 80 to 70 docked. I just prefer playing my games on my TV most of the time, and when I'm traveling, I usually don't have that much time to play portably. So Nintendo finding ways to further maximize the console in docked mode, I do think can make for a bigger difference. We've already had several discussions in the past on the different elements that we've heard about regarding the specs of the console. And even just a few days ago, we've had an additional conversation about supposed improved third-party support for the Switch 2, at least at launch. And this comes with the implication that there will be a lot more higher fidelity games, big AAA games. And while a lot of these games may be available for things like the PlayStation 5, for example, if the Switch 2 can get close enough to where most people don't notice that much of a difference, then most people are probably going to see more value in playing games on the Switch 2 because they can have a fairly comparable experience playing things at home in docked mode, but then also with the improvements in portable mode, they'll find even more reason to enjoy games portably as well, but they will essentially still be the same experience, both home console and portable, but in the right ways. Perhaps having a system that's also a bit more easy or comfortable to hold, and improved ergonomics. That's also an issue I've had with holding the base Switch in portable mode. The way it's shaped and its size, holding it for lengthy periods of time, can be kind of uncomfortable. Now, of course, there's a variety of peripherals and third-party controllers and grips and such that can ease that, but it might be nice to see Nintendo right out of the box have a more comfortable option than what the Switch is. And actually, I'll mention, since it's kind of relevant right now, from both the Vandal reports and the MobilePad leaks, we have heard that the Switch 2 will have bigger controllers, bigger Joy-Con controllers that will attach magnetically. Now, in terms of the controllers being bigger, that may actually facilitate a more comfortable hold. And when thinking about the Joy-Cons and how they might snap on magnetically, perhaps a bit more quickly and easily than how the Joy-Cons currently work on the Switch through the rail system, and then you also factor in this fast charger we're hearing about, the Switch 2 experience might be even better at switching and changing things around than switching modes. It's quicker, snappier, more elegant. Now, before closing out here, I would like to circle back to this conversation on the improved clock speeds in docked mode. Because with a more significant gap, this might become a little bit of an issue. We look at games on the Nintendo Switch like with the Xenoblade series. In portable mode, the visual differences versus docked mode are rather jarring. Now, with the most recent Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Monosoft has found ways to mitigate those issues, and playing in portable mode is not so bad. But with a more significant gap between portable mode and docked mode, I think it's at least worth raising a concern. Now, I'm pretty optimistic on here. I think more power is still ultimately a good thing. And as I did note, devs have increasingly gotten better with handling the different power ranges of Nintendo Switch. So I imagine that will still apply with Switch 2, and if anything, they'll be even more comfortable and a proper middle ground will be found. I gotta think what they would prioritize is simply like a resolution boost when in docked mode, because you could be playing on a 4K television. But also, since the screen is bigger, maybe they also prioritize things like draw distance, for example. Things that won't be so noticeable on a smaller screen at a lower resolution. So ultimately, I think it will be fine. And basically, when considering all this new info, I am now even more optimistic about the Nintendo Switch 2. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.